the Fuckdrunk Chronicles. I want to talk to you about this album. You can't see that, can you? This album, Necrot's Blood Offerings. I got this CD at a concert. It was a Cannibal Corpse concert back in February. And on the ticket were Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel, and Necrot. Those were the three bands. There was another one that played, I think, but I don't really remember. In any case, this was the band that stuck out to me the most. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Cannibal Corpse, or else I wouldn't have gone and seen a show. I listened to some Morbid Angel, but they were never really my thing. But this album, after I got back from the show, I put this album on after listening to them in person, and I'd heard a little bit because I'd known they were on the ticket. So I listened briefly, but it wasn't until I got the album and I was able to listen to it in full that I really, really started to get into them. And I listened to their first album and it was alright, but this album is one of my favorites. So I was thinking about my art, right? And I was thinking about how most people probably couldn't connect to my art. You know, and that's fine. My art is pretty niche, right? Like, I mean, for one thing, the things that I talk about in my art are already pretty niche to begin with. And then, on top of that, the ways in which I talk about them are even nicher still, right? So, it's understandable that someone might not connect with my work. I'm not upset about it or anything. I just thought it was an interesting thing to think about. Because, you know, who really watches hentai the way I do, right? Not very many people. Most people watch hentai and they jack their dick and they, and that's about it, really. Yeah, that's the end of it. But me, I'm not satisfied with that. You know, I need something more. I need something to get invested in, right? For that emotional attachment, something like that, right? I need a thematic through line that gets me invested in the work. What is that work saying to me, right? I need a narrative. That's something I like. I like a good narrative in my hentai. I like character motivation. I like, why are the characters doing what they're doing? It adds to the emotional impact, I suppose. It all just comes back to investment, I think. That's my biggest thing with hentai. And I don't think most people view hentai that way. And so most people don't get my videos. The reason I want to talk to you about this is because I really think that Necrot does not get enough attention. So if you're into death metal, if you're into heavy metal, I really recommend listening to this album. It has a certain amount of tracks on it. They're not numbered, so I don't want to count. In any case, it is an old school death metal styled record that was released not too long ago. We are social creatures, whatever that means. I think it means that our worth is determined by our relationship to other people, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it just means that we have to interact with people or else we die. I don't know. We're social creatures, but I don't socialize. So what does that mean for me? I'm not entirely sure. I think what it could mean is that possibly the world is fucked. And I don't think many people could get it. I think people could understand maybe my perspective if I explained it well enough. But I don't know if people are going to connect to that. That's fine. But of the people who did connect to it, I hope, I'm sure some of you are watching this right now. for those of you out there who do like my art and like the weird shit that I put out, the people who don't really give a fuck, right? Or maybe not even necessarily that they don't give a fuck. Maybe you do give a fuck, but you just happen to connect with what I'm saying, the way I'm saying it, on a very deep level. And I hope there are people out there like that. I hope, my art has an effect on somebody to that level. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen one day. Maybe somebody will come across my video and, see it as less just a funny video about hentai and more something that they've been wishing they could have found years earlier that helps them explain their perspective. I don't know. For most people, that's not going to happen. And I don't think I've ever had an interaction with anybody that really got to the heart of who I am and what all of this means. I think for a person to have that type of interaction, they would have to meet somebody and be interacting with somebody who really understands them, who is somebody who is so similar to them on such a fundamental level that it might not even be worth thinking about, because I don't think two people can be that similar, even if they have the exact same DNA. Identical twins. I've met plenty of identical twins, well, as many identical twins as somebody can meet, that share very little in common, relatively speaking. Obviously, they have very similar life experiences, as they are essentially the same person, yet somehow differences still exist. I'm not an identical twin. I couldn't tell you why that is. What I can tell you, however, is that the world is fucked. I don't know how to describe music, but I'm going to try. The sound of this record is a little bit muddy. I think that is my only issue with this record, and even then, I don't even really consider it to be that big of a negative, because the overall sound contributes to this darkness, and that's really what I go to death metal for, is its darkness. If you couldn't tell, I'm a very dark individual. But the griminess of it, I think, the production value is not pristine. Even I would accuse the latest Cannibal Corpse record, Red Before Black, of being too cleanly produced for me to really enjoy it, although those songs are incredibly catchy for a death metal record. This song has, this record rather, has some of the best riffs that I have heard from death metal. Obviously, they're not as catchy or melodic as something that you would find in a melodic death metal album, but they're good. They're catchy, they're groovy. I think The Blade, Rather Be Dead, and Blood Offerings, the title track, are the three best songs off of this album. I think being a social creature is, in many ways, a blessing and a curse. Because on one hand, if we weren't social animals and we were a more isolated species, I think the world would get on a lot better. I don't think there would be nearly as much conflict. I think we would be essentially doing our own thing and having a nice old time, just being on our own, hunting for our food. We would never develop society. We would never develop agriculture. Maybe on a small scale we might learn how to grow things. We're intelligent enough. I don't think that there would be any sort of war. Maybe there would be some conflict between individuals. But I think overall, the world would generally be a better place if we weren't social animals, if humans weren't social animals. Because humans are the root cause of everything that's wrong with this world. It's us. The world is fucked, and you're the fucker. But on the other hand, if we weren't social animals, I couldn't be making this video right now. How would I express myself? What I need to express myself? What would it mean to be in love if we weren't social animals? Because animals that aren't social, in the same way that we are, have mating periods, and they, for most of their time are off doing their own thing. But during that small window, whatever that may be, they go and they have sex and they breed, and then they kind of fuck off, basically. I'm not a biologist, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But that's essentially how it works. And I think that, if we weren't social animals, that's essentially how we would work. But I don't know if that would necessarily be the best for humans. I don't know. And I could cater to people. I could cater to my audience, right? Like, I'd probably make money doing that, most likely. If I wanted to make money, that'd probably be the best way of doing it. It would be to cater my artwork to an audience, to chase the SEO. And I've done that to an extent. That's why my Mankitsu Happening video is so popular. I don't give a fuck about Mankitsu Happening, but I made it to get popular. And that's what it did. So, I could cater. Maybe I'd get money. But I don't really want to do that. I want to make the videos that I want to make. I want my art to be an expression of myself. That's what I want my art to be. And, I could have the sellout stuff that makes me the money. And then on the side, I have all the stuff I really care about, to keep me sane. And I could do that. Maybe I will do that. I don't know. It just depends, because I do need money. I don't have any income right now. But we are social animals. We know that. If we don't socialize, something bad happens. I don't know, maybe you end up like me, and nobody wants that. So, socialize, interact, form relationships with other humans. Do as you please. I don't think it's worth doing anything in this world if you're not enjoying yourself. Do I enjoy socializing? Hell no. Do I enjoy interacting with people? Not a chance. Are there people who I can interact with in such a way that it does not cause me physical pain? Sure. There's 3 or 4 people who I can talk to without wanting to shrivel up and die. I feel like I'm going a little bit crazy here because I've been sitting in this room doing basically nothing for a very long time. Very little interaction with anybody. But on some level, I'm almost glad. I almost feel a strange joy, It's a very odd sensation, and it's one that happens from time to time during my life. Not every day. Tends to happen in bursts. Some days, or some weeks rather, I will feel this way, and then other times it will simply dissipate. And I've essentially figured out the root cause. The root cause is other people. But I hope my content being niche and my artwork being something that only a few people could connect with means that the people who do connect with it on a much deeper level. It is no secret to anybody who I talk to that I hate other people. I hate talking to them. I hate the ideas that they have to present. They are, I hesitate to call them stupid, because not everybody is stupid. There are people who are smarter than me that I can't stand, and there are people that are stupider than me that I also can't stand. Usually when they're stupider than I am, their stupidity is the reason I can't stand them, and usually when they're smarter than me, well, I dislike them for, I don't know, for being people. I couldn't tell you. I guess if you gave me a person who was smarter than me, showed them to me, was like, why do you dislike this person? I'd tell you, okay, well, it's for this, and this reason. But I can't tell you just why I dislike people who are smarter than me, because what you have to remember is that nobody's on the exact same level of intelligence as you are, at least not functionally. Maybe, there's somebody who is just 1% smarter than you or 1% stupider than you, but nobody is exactly where you are. Maybe, you took an IQ test and you got 125. And your friend, he took the IQ test, he also got 125. But it doesn't mean you are exactly the same intelligence, right? It just means that you were close enough that you were able to score the same. And IQ tests are not even the best tester of intelligence that exist. Can you even test intelligence? Is that something that is possible to test? Like, you can know an infinite amount of things about an infinite amount of topics, theoretically speaking, right? The potential is there. There are infinite topics to know about, and you can know just about anything about them. And so, most people have this patchwork of ideas. They have this patchwork of knowledge that's, well, I know some stuff about this thing, and I know some stuff about this thing. And that's just the way everybody is. Nobody knows everything about one thing, and nobody knows only about one thing. So it's best described as a patchwork. I forgot where I was going with that. This is a very, very good record. I'm going to pull out the sleeve here so that we can look through it together. Here is the CD. As you can see, that's what it looks like. I just got done saying that I think there are people who are smarter than me and people who are stupider than me. But I guarantee you, one of those people who is stupider than me knows more about something than I do, right? Maybe it's about something that I just don't give a fuck about. Maybe that stupid person knows everything in the world about cars. I fucking hate cars. I think cars are the worst. I don't want to own a car. I don't even want to learn how to drive. Hell, I learn how to drive, that's one step towards me getting a license. That's another step towards me getting a car, which I don't want. So I haven't learned how to drive. In any case, probably there's somebody stupider than me who knows a lot about cars. He knows everything there is to know about cars that, one person could know. But you present him with some basic math question, and he fucking freezes up. Well, what is, 13 times 6? I can't answer that. I probably could if you would have asked me about a year ago. I might have been able to answer that, but my knowledge of math has completely vanished. I used to be really good at math. Now I can't do it for shit. I don't know what happened. I didn't take a math class my senior year in high school, and suddenly it all goes out the window. Whatever. In any case, people's intelligence is not something that can be quantified, right? It's not something that you can just take a blanket statement and say, this is how smart somebody is, right? Because even somebody who is more intelligent than me, right? I know more about hentai than they do. And that's pretty funny. That's a funny thing to say, isn't it? I know more about hentai than you do. Oh, congratulations. You know more about animated porn than probably Elon Musk. I'll tell you that much. And that guy's a fucking genius, apparently. Oh. But I fucking hate Elon Musk too. Fuck that guy. What has that motherfucker ever done for me? When you have niche artwork, you're really trying to get to a very specific crowd. Like, that is your target audience. Realistically, my target audience is myself. That's the only person I'm catering towards. I only make videos that I personally would want to watch. I don't make anything that I wouldn't find intriguing. I don't do it. Because if I did that, then I would have sold out, in my opinion. That's where it ends. If I ever do something that I wouldn't want to see, then I've sold out. I could probably name you some people I don't hate. I don't necessarily hate my friends, of which there are about 3 or 4, like I said. Those people that I can communicate with. There's some online personalities that I don't hate, though if I met them, I probably would hate them. And I use hate in the nicest way possible, as well as the cruelest way possible. And what I mean by that is, when I say hate, I mean I hate the concept of them being a person, right? I hate them not so much for anything they've done to me, and it's not really like burning hatred, in the same way that, I hate somebody who has wronged me, but I just hate interacting with them. I hate the fact that they now have a perception of me, right? If I meet them, that I can't control that. And that's interesting, and that's a weird thing to think about, but it's also not something that I really like, because I don't like people having ideas about me that don't fit in with the narrative that I've tried to create about myself. Does that make any sense? It does make sense because I said it. So, I think essentially what I'm trying to get at is, when I say hate, I don't mean
I'm going to fucking kill you, you piece of shit.
I mean, the world is fucked and you're the fucker. Well, I think you've earned it. Coffee break. Just a little break from the mania. I don't have any coffee, so I'm drinking this. There's a song by Algernon Cadwallader called Motivational Song, and in it, he sings the lines, "Johnny, Johnny, get on with your life. You won't get a chance to get on with it twice. So if fucking up feels right, then fuck it up." I think about that song a lot. Think about how I could apply it to my own life. Many people would call me a fuck up. Hell, I call myself a fuck up. I don't really care. I just do what feels right, These things are pretty good. If you haven't had one of these before, Melon Mania, you should try it. It's pretty good. Probably my favorite rain flavor. Sponsor. I'm not sponsored by them. I probably wouldn't even take a sponsor from them if they offered. It's pretty good, though. It's pretty good. One thing I fear in life is the 9 to 5. That's one of my biggest fears. The idea that one day, someday in the future, not tomorrow, but one day, I will have resigned myself to simply working a lowly office job, grinding from 9 to 5, coming home, putting on TLC, and getting drunk and doing it all again the next day. It's not how I want to live my life. Not even close. You know, I'm an artist, right? This is what I want to be doing with my life. Although maybe not this. If you get what I'm saying. This is my own personal hell, in a way. It's the Fuckdrunk Chronicles. What does it mean to be fuck drunk? Well, by the end of this video, I think you'll understand. I don't know if I can put it into words. It's not like being drunk, but it is like being fucked up. I suppose it can mean whatever you want it to mean. You know, language is such that no two people have the exact same definitions and connotations for every word. Simply the way language works. We're all individuals, we're all unique, and we all have, you know, our own ways of communicating. This is my way of communicating. There are other people who communicate similarly to me. There aren't many. It's quite difficult to communicate with me, if you've ever tried. That's my own fault. But so be it. I am the way I am. And if you like the way I am, support me on Patreon. Coming back to the idea of working a 9 to 5, you know, realistically, the only way I can avoid that is if I do something with this. And I'm trying. By God, am I trying. Is it working? I couldn't say. I couldn't tell you. I think it's working. You know, maybe. Even if I was only making $20 off Patreon a month, right? $20. That's 3 people in the $7 tier, right? 3 people listening to my retarded bullshit that gets posted there. You know, then I could say, well, I'm doing something. If fucking up feels right, then by God, am I gonna fuck it up. And it's also just a funny thing to say, I hate everyone, right? Like, it's much easier than saying, well, I hate the vast majority of people except for these couple of people who are all right and I consider, to be not the worst ever. And, I guess there's some people that I'm just sort of neutral on. It's just much easier to say I hate everyone. And then everybody is just like, all right, well, fuck you then. Fuck off if you hate me so much. And that's exactly what I want. I want everybody to fuck off. The only people I want to not fuck off, I suppose, is my YouTube audience. All right? Because I think, in many ways, the YouTube audience is exactly the type of people that I hesitate to say don't hate. Because, by God, I've gotten some fucking awful comments on my YouTube videos. When I first released my Mankitsu Happening video, you can ask my friends about this if you know who they are, or if you are one of them. You will remember this. The amount of burning
hatred
within my soul when that video got released and the comments were flooded with people who just didn't get it and made stupid comments. It wasn't even so much the people who just disagreed. It was the people who not only disagreed, but also didn't get it and presented their argument in the stupidest way they could possibly present it. But what are you going to do? You know, if it was bad enough, if I thought it impacted how bad that video was, I deleted the comment. You know, I don't think that sentence made sense, but I'm sort of losing track of my own mind. So, yeah, I deleted comments if I think they negatively impacted the video. I left them up if I thought, well, it's harmless enough. Doesn't really matter. If it's stupid enough, I'll screenshot it because I think it's funny. But at a certain point, when you're getting flooded with comments, and they don't stop coming in because that video got thousands of views. It was the only video I've ever made that got over 1,000 views at the time. Now I have multiple videos with over 1,000 views, and so it's a little bit more normal. But that's the only one that even got into the tens of thousands of views. All right, maybe that one day that will be different as well. Just depends on how big my channel gets, and obviously, even if I stop producing content, those videos will continue to grow. Like my emergence video and my Wagaya no Liliana-san video, those will continue to grow, and they'll probably hit 10,000 views at some point in their lifetime. And if I get even bigger as a channel, maybe those will go up as well. Who knows? I don't know. But my Menkitsu Happening video, right now, it's sitting somewhere above 60K, I think. Maybe it's above... No, it's definitely above 60K at the moment. That it's always increasing. You can't lose views. You can only gain views. So, as time goes on, it goes up. But at the time of release, that video got a pretty large amount of views. It did not hit, the point it's at quickly, but it did get a lot of views within the first, I don't know, month or so of it existing. And within that month, I got the worst comments ever. I mean, they were just coming in day after day. I'd be sitting in English class, I'd get a notification on my phone, and it's some motherfucker who says, I don't know, something like nipple dick monkey equals hentai or something like, I don't even fucking remember. The comments were asinine. They didn't mean anything. Somebody would be saying, you're wrong. What are you going to do about it, huh? You're wrong. That's right, you heard me. I said it. You're wrong. Fuck off. Because even with my Mankitsu Happening video, which I consider to be my most sellout video, it's still a video that I would want to watch. Like, it's still an analysis video of a hentai, right? Which is what I want to see on YouTube. That's one of the reasons that I started YouTube, was to see more people doing hentai analysis. And, I hope people are inspired by my work and go on and do their own thing. That is sort of the primary goal, aside from expressing myself creatively, right? I do get a thoughtful comment here and there, and I love when I get a thoughtful comment. I love it when somebody watches my videos, gets something out of it, and then comments something that actually takes my points into account. And I can tell that they've maybe even watched some of my other videos because, I don't know, maybe they make a reference or something, or maybe like, I don't know, they just sort of fit into the the sort of narrative that I'm trying to string along here. Maybe, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I know there's some people out there who have seen a lot of my videos and even follow this channel. If you're watching this, maybe you're one of them. I'm not going to name any names because in 2 years' time, maybe that'll be completely different. I couldn't tell you. What I can tell you, however, is I absolutely adore good YouTube comments. They're my favorite thing in the world. Out of everything, If I had to choose one way to socialize for the rest of my life. And I couldn't socialize in any other way, right? Couldn't talk to somebody in real life. They come up to me, we just can't talk. I don't know, maybe I don't know what the circumstances are, why I'm not able to talk to anybody. Maybe I'm a mute or something. Anyways, my point is, that one way would be YouTube comments. Putting myself out there through my art and through this, this vehicle, having people internalize it, having them watch it, and then spitting something back out that takes into account everything that I've said and nothing more. But that's not going to happen. I still have to interact with other people, unfortunately, in other ways, although I'm trying to minimize it currently as best I can, because I've noticed that my productivity increases when I'm not talking to anybody. Because I have to get this shit out somehow, so... There is the front cover, and there is the interior cover with the track listing on it. And inside, you have all of the lyrics. And as well, this very nice artwork that portrays, I suppose, a hellscape of some kind. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to represent, but it's very cool. You have these necrolized individuals there holding fetuses, and then you have the Necrot logo, and I actually have a Necrot shirt over there that you have seen in some of my videos if you watch my videos, which I assume you do. And of course you have a picture of the band, and just more artwork. One thing that comes from being a social animal is that you have to socialize, or you have to, it doesn't even have to be a two-way socialization from what I've come to understand. I could just be spitting this shit out, getting nothing in return, and I'd be alright, I think. But it definitely does help. Definitely does help. The one thing I hate about talking in any other way is that everybody is incredibly self-centered. And I'm incredibly self-centered as well. There's no denying that. Clearly, by the things I've said in this video, I'm a very... Hey, the video just got split into two. I wonder how that's going to work. I don't even know. In any case, everyone is self-centered. And if they aren't self-centered, then they're even harder to fucking talk to, I'll tell you that much. But I'm not going to get into that. Everyone is self-centered. So when you're talking to somebody, and it's a little bit less egregious in real life, but it's still pretty egregious. When you're talking to somebody online, you tend to talk over each other. And this is what I've noticed through interactions on Discord. You will say something, and then they will say something. But the thing that they said has nothing to do with what you said. It's only tangentially related. It's actually them telling you something about themselves or giving you their insight, and then what you said didn't really matter, and then you go and say something that's related to the last thing that you said but has literally nothing to do with what they just said. And then they maybe will respond to the first thing that you said, but because they were already typing, they don't respond to the second thing that you said, and that second thing that you said was meant to clarify something about the first thing that you said, and then they don't really get it. Because like I said, they were typing it out while you were also typing out your clarification, so that by the time it actually sends, they've already made the mistake of misinterpreting what you were trying to say, but then it gets sent after the fact that you clarified it, so they just end up looking dumb, and so then they don't respond to anything else you say anymore, and then it devolves, right? Online conversation, especially on a group chat. Oh my god, on a Discord server, holy shit, it's just people talking over each other to no end, and then some motherfucker just comes in and sends a retarded ass image. I hate group chats. I hate them. They're the bane of my existence. By god, everybody loves them though. It's all about Discord servers. I'll open up a Discord server if I have enough patrons because people like it. Will I participate in there? Maybe I will. I don't know. I have a tendency to want to just spit something out into the fucking void. Who knows? It's better than the places I inhabit currently on that motherfucker. And then talking in real life has its own set of problems. It's a little bit easier because talking over each other tends not to happen unless you're in an argument and it gets pretty heated. So you generally don't have to worry about that. That's good. I'm glad I don't have to worry about the most frustrating part of talking online. So it's a little bit easier. But my issue sort of arises from I can't relate to anybody. It's very difficult for me to relate to literally anybody. I think. Well, okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit. And YouTuber Digibro, big influence on me. Great video maker, content creator. Can't tell you anything about the guy personally. Never met him. He made a video about autism. And one of the things he said in it was, autism is a spectrum, right? So that means everybody is on it. Everybody is on the spectrum. Most people are on the one end of the spectrum, which is not autistic, right? It's still on the autism spectrum. It's just the very end of it, right? And then obviously you have people on the other end who are just pure autism. I don't know. Does that exist? Who knows? I've never met a pure autist. And there tend to be clusters, right? So, biggest cluster is not autistic, and then you have, an Aspie cluster, and then you have like the high functioning autist cluster, and then you have the low functioning autist cluster, and it tends to look like that because there's more non-autistic people. But then there's very few people in between the clusters, but there's still people in between the clusters, and I fall in between the cluster. I'm not quite, I don't quite have Asperger's. I'm not that autistic, so I can't relate to people with Asperger's, because that's one of the things about this whole shit, is that it's very difficult to relate to anybody who's not basically exactly where you are on that spectrum, right? So all of my friends, all 3 or 4 of them, I've said that many times, don't relate to many people. That's why, Aspies do not relate very well to normies, and normies don't fucking understand anybody who's even 1% more autistic than they are. I'm retarded, so I'm a fucking dumbass, right? So yeah, I sometimes fall into the idea that, hey, maybe I'm actually not that bad at socializing because I've just been socializing with the exact people who fall basically right where I am, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not actually bad at socializing. I can do this. This is not that bad. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm a normal guy, right? And then I go down to the corner store and I go buy a candy bar or an energy drink or something, and the cashier says, "Oh, hey, nice shirt," and I'm like, "Thanks." What the fuck just happened? I thought I was okay. Well, no, apparently not. And I hope the people that don't necessarily go and do that maybe support me on Patreon, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to keep me going. That's what's going to keep me making videos. If you don't want to see me sell out, the best thing you can do is to give me money. And I don't mean that in a cynical way either. I mean, like, literally. Like, if you want to see me create content that is weird and eccentric like this fucking video is, what the hell is this? Patreon is the best way to do it. Because how else am I going to make money making weirdo art pieces on YouTube? I don't know. I don't think it's possible. I don't think that's... Without Patreon, I mean... What else would there be? Fucking ads? Nobody watches these. So... I'm going to turn this into an ad for Patreon now. Go support me on Patreon. If you like my content, when I'm talking to normies, and I'm talking to just regular ass people, right? People I don't relate to even in the slightest, right? I don't know what the fuck to say. I don't know how to speak normie. I can't do that shit. Doesn't make sense to me. That's not the way my mind works. And I can't talk to Asperger's, right? There's a lot of people who have Asperger's online, especially within the anime community, by God. Deal with those motherfuckers all the time if I go on Discord. But I can't deal with those people because those people are more autistic than me. And they're the fucking people who consider themselves not really that autistic. So, I'm not autistic. If I needed to clarify that somehow. I'm just a fucking... I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I am. I'm something, that's for sure. As you can tell. But relating to others is very difficult for me because of this reason. So, I was going somewhere with that. It's stuff like this that really draws me to physical media. Just having this, right? Because I could go and I could open up the album on Spotify and I could listen to it like that, and that would be okay. That would be fine. No issue there. You're still getting the same music. It's the same quality, and in fact, it might even be a little bit better quality depending, just, I guess, on what quality setting you have. But you're not going to get this. You're not going to have something that you can hold in your hands. Something that you can put on in the car if you don't have a car that has one of those auxiliary ports, or if you just don't have a cord. Every car has a CD player, unless yours was stolen. In which case, I feel bad for you, but you probably don't care. Yeah. Well, I would say go listen to this record if you like old school death metal, and if you like things that sound good. If you like music that will not blow you away with how epic it is, and I can recommend music that will do exactly that. This is an album that you can put on when you just want some goddamn death metal. You don't want anything flashy. You don't want anything that's, shitty sounding, obviously. I don't know why you would want to listen to shitty music, but this is great music right here. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm going a little bit insane here. But that's what death metal does to you, motherfucker. If I'm talking to a normie, then I keep using that term, but I don't know what else to say. I don't like that term because it has very bad connotations. I don't like the connotations of the word normie because it makes me seem like a normie, because that's a normie term, but I don't know what else to say. That's just the phrase I've been using all my life, basically. I've been saying normie since I was in middle school. That's just the term I use. So, it's, when I talk to somebody who is, more autistic than me, if they're autistic to the point where, they can't talk, maybe it's actually a little bit easier to communicate with them because I just don't have to. But if they are high-functioning enough to the point where they're much more autistic than me, like a person with Asperger's or just high-functioning, it's almost like they don't speak my language. I could functionally speak to them, right? Like, I can speak with confidence and I can say things, but then they either just don't get it or they freeze up. And I just think, well, what the fuck is the point of this conversation, right? Usually they get on my nerves. That's another thing. Autists are annoying. I'm probably not annoying to normies because I don't talk to them, but there are some people with autism who go out of their way to talk to other people, and I think this is a very big mistake for anybody to do, not just for autistic people, because it means that you get put at the risk of talking to me, and you don't want to do that. But anyways, when an autistic person, goes out with confidence and starts talking, they get on my nerves. Okay? And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm not trying to be mean to autistic people. I feel bad for autistic people. Well, I don't feel bad for autistic people. I don't have sympathy for them. I do have a little bit of empathy for them because I can understand what they're kind of going through to a small degree, to a degree that normies cannot. But, they do get on my nerves. For different reasons than normies get on my nerves. But nonetheless, they get on my nerves. Like I said, I don't mean that in a mean way. Because in a way, I do mean it in a mean way. But you're not allowed to mean it in a mean way. Because that's mean. And you're not allowed to be mean. And you're especially not allowed to be ableist. You're not allowed to be mean to autistic people. Why aren't you allowed to be mean to autistic people? I don't know, because they'll cry. People have been mean to me my entire fucking life. I'm not normal. So why the fuck can't I be mean to people who are less normal than I am? They're not even less normal than me. They're more normal than I am. They fall into a cluster. They have fucking autistic cluster, but a cluster nonetheless. There's more of those motherfuckers than there are people like me. I'm the least normal motherfucker you're ever gonna meet. Is anybody even normal? Is normal like a concept? Right? Like, normal as a concept exists, but normal as like a person? Can a person be normal? Can a person be, like, if you took all of the normal attributes and just put them onto one person, that wouldn't even be normal because most people don't fit all of those attributes. So with that person, on one hand, they have all of the normal attributes, but on the other hand, nobody else is like that. So are they normal? I don't know. When I say normie, right, it's like short for normal fag. It's less syllables. And normal fag. So it's, I'm calling them normal, but I suppose maybe what I mean is more normal? I don't know. It's a very hard concept because everybody, is unique in a certain way, right? I don't mean to be a special snowflake, but everybody's a little bit different. Everybody has got their eccentricities, and some people more than others. And the more that you have, the less normal you're considered, I suppose. But everybody has some, right? A lot of people try to downplay their eccentricities until they get to a certain age, and then it becomes part of their personal narrative, and then they're all right with it. And then they're just some crazy boomer who, it's like, oh, that's Uncle fucking David. That guy loves baked beans. I don't. Oh. That's a weird example, but it is past 5 o'clock in the morning right now, so I don't care. I've been doing this for almost 40 minutes now. In any case, nobody's normal. And yet, some people are more normal than others. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense right now? I don't think I'm making any sense.